Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I am Alan Kersner. I work here in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Institute, heading up the Temple University Entrepreneurship Academy, which does cross-university programs. Our goal is to facilitate entrepreneurial thinking and doing throughout all 17 colleges within the university. So today is the culmination of what's been about 2 months of workshops, of submissions, etc. So we appreciate your support. We went over that. Okay, so the way we're going to be working today is we're going to have 5 undergraduate finalists present. We are going to have a 3-minute presentation, 2 minutes of Q&A from the judges, and then we will also have, as I drop that, our upper track finalists. And we have some things that we need your active involvement with. So there is a People's Choice Award. So when you see the finalist that you think is the best, scan the code and vote for your favorite. There's a $500 prize for the People's Choice Award. I do want to thank, as I said, we've done a number of workshops and we had several guest speakers, some of them alums of this program. Actually, all 4 of these people had won prizes in the past couple years for very meaningful social impact ideas. We also had several guest speakers, and you may recommend or recognize these names: Marilyn Anthony, Kerry Slade, and Ellen Weber. Also had a number of coaches. This is truly a team effort, university-wide. And a number of reviewers. I think in total we had about 480 reviews of all of our submissions. And none of this could have happened without people in the community being willing to give their time and feedback and expertise. I would encourage you, if you are not a member of the 1810 Accelerator, or if you are not mentoring or being involved with the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Institute, please scan here. There are a ton of opportunities. And what we find is obviously the students and submitters benefit, but so will you, because you're able, if you will, to pay it forward and really help people who are motivated, who want to make a difference, who want to create their own destinies. And so you can help facilitate that path with your guidance and mentoring. Okay, so we are very lucky to have 4 distinguished judges. And first, and if you want to stand up, Brendan, because no one can see you behind those chairs. He's Chief Program Officer for Congreso de Latino Unidad. And Brendan and I met probably about 5 years ago. He's at the forefront of implementing design thinking and lean startup in a nonprofit setting. And he's spoken at many conferences. He's got a toolkit about to be published. And he is clearly someone who's changing the world and working through nonprofits to make that happen. Second is Michael Hardin, who is founder of Juno Search and also Juno Capital. And she has been a giant friend, mentor, expert for IEI through the years. Thank you. Next is Rick Genzer. And Rick is from Ben Franklin Technology Partners. And I just found out today that Rick is like a founding member of IEI, right? 25 years ago? Okay. And he also adjunct here, and he was sort of upset we hadn't called him. So we'll be calling Rick and trying to bring him back into the teaching. I don't know. I had a couple witnesses there. So Rick goes way back and has been a giant supporter. I think this is the 4th competition he's helped judge, the first in the social impact area. And we also have Howard Brown, founder and CEO of an educational startup, ex-Wall Street individual, who then decided to switch careers and go teach in a local high school, correct? And then doing his economic startup. And we are honored that Howard is now teaching with us in the Before You Soar program in 0827. Okay, great. So again, People's Choice Award. You don't have to vote yet, unless you're someone's relative who's competing. All right. So we're going to get started with the undergraduate track. And first up is Alliance App and Drew Mayer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Drew Mayer. I'm a Fox undergrad student here at Temple. My app is Alliance. One of the biggest social impacts that has affected every community, almost every family, and my personal life is addiction. In my own experience, I have had a friend that has passed, and unfortunately, a few months after that, I had another friend that took his own life. Although they are unrelated, I find that both of these things have tremendous impacts on the community around them. And with my app Alliance, I wanted to find a way to solve that impact and make sure that their families didn't feel the same way that me and my friends felt. In the last 20 years, addiction and overdoses have increased dramatically. In 2021 alone, there was 106,000 overdoses in the United States. In 2017, that number was only 48,000, and in 2012, it was only 20,000. My solution is my app Alliance, which is an anonymous social forum where family members, friends, and peers will be able to post and ask for help about someone in their life that is struggling from addiction. From there, someone who has been in a similar circumstance would be able to respond and post words of advice to help that person. In all, my goal for Alliance is to create a strong, close-knit community of people trying to help each other and spread positive light against addiction. Since I'm targeting such a specific niche, which is the family members, friends, and peers, no one else has really targeted this exact niche, so there's not any direct competitors. Why I'm doing that is because in my experience, addicts themselves either one, refuse to admit they have a problem or really don't want to get help. I would like to announce that AA, NA, and outpatient rehab are all great outsources, but I'm trying to target their friends and family to help those addicts as well. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge some challenges for my app, which would be first getting early adopters to help build that strong community that I'm looking for. Secondly, it would be moderation of bots and internet trolls and any harassing people that would be on my social media, which would just break the integrity of it. And lastly, it would be funding to keep my nonprofit organization running for its longevity. I would like to say thank you for your time and this opportunity, and I would like to ask that you join the Alliance Against Addiction. Thank you.
Really good presentation. Thank you for that. Why did you choose anonymity?
I feel like it's best or not best, but for some people, they don't really want to disclose their own situations, and they might be afraid of what people might react or say. So I feel like if they don't know who they actually are, they might be more honest and open.
Thanks. Question I'm interested in, with building tech, sometimes ensuring the customer values and would use that app is always part of the risks, I think, and double checking how to do that. Could you share a little bit about how would you go about making sure that that there's a market that would really want to use the app as the method to seek this service?
Right, so recently I've been actually going around Temple's campus and asking people like my age how they would view something like this, what if they would use it to help a friend in their life, and if there's actually any real merit there. I don't know if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, thanks. Just to check with those customers and make sure that there's an appetite for it as well as building it. So thanks.
Yeah.
So great presentation. Just a point of clarification. Would this be for the friends and family, correct?
Yes.
And have you thought about, you're creating a community. Will you be creating content as well?
Yes, I will be. I haven't started a social media yet, but I plan to hopefully do that so I can get people on board, and hopefully that will spark that community.
Thank you. Andor. Okay, so next up, I hope, okay, is Olivia Borde with EnviroSure.
Hello, my name is Olivia Biordi. I'm a graphic design major at Tyler, and I'm the founder of EnviroSure. Now, we're all familiar with Philly's poor reputation with waste management. While the city is supposed to be aiming to recycle about 35% of waste, the actual number is closer to about 18%. After COVID, these numbers dropped even further, and they have not recovered. In 2022, Philadelphia's recycling rate was just 9%. However, we don't need to lose hope just yet. Other cities in the US and around the world have proven that these numbers can be improved. In Seattle, they improved engagement through an app with pre-existing recycling programs. In San Francisco, they divided waste, and now we see about 81% of recyclable materials actually being recycled. And Vancouver proved that this can be done fast. Now let me introduce you to EnviroSure, a Philly-based recycling company aimed to fight climate change through community involvement and eco-friendly choices. EnviroSure is a dual-service company. We have large community bins, free to use, where residents can go dump their waste, and then personal at-home pickup based on subscription. Now, these community bins would be placed within zip codes in Philly with the lowest waste management rates and the least amount of public trash cans and recycling bins to maximize use and target residents who need us the most. They would be subdivided based on repurpose value and clearly marked so that there's no confusion. For example, in the US alone, 3 billion greasy pizza boxes are discarded every year, but they can't be recycled despite being made of a commonly recycled material, but they can be composted. Our company makes a point of looking at reuse from different perspectives to make a greener impact. Now, our subscription pickups, these would be where most of our revenue comes in. These would be personal at-home bins where residents could leave their bins out. They would have them picked up at their home. These subscriptions and their price would vary based on the frequency of pickups, but additional ones can be scheduled for a small extra charge. And all of this would be done through an app, which would also include information on recycling, so residents can inform and empower themselves to make eco-friendly choices themselves. With any business, there's potential obstacles. This could look like competitors, lack of funding, or just confusion on how to recycle correctly. A potential partnership with the city or other established recycling companies could manage many of these challenges. And as stated before, we already plan to educate residents through our business. Our goal is simple. We want to create a greener impact and get people to change how they think about waste. That's all. Thank you very much. And I guess now questions.
Thank you for your presentation. It's Olivia, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Just really one question. I was interested to know why the subscription-based model?
Because one of the big challenges with the city-run recycling and trash pickup is that they may not stick to their set schedule. Recycling may be done a day later, or it may not happen at all that week. And with subscription, residents can choose how often they need it based on their own personal needs. And they would also be able to set the days that they would get pickup, so that there's a more clear understanding of what is happening with your waste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, great presentation. Thank you. So one of my questions is, if we're looking to penetrate this population that doesn't recycle, right, or take it seriously, how do you think you can convert their mindset and convert them to actually subscribing to do so?
Well, the thing about Philly's low recycling rates is that it's actually not about residents not recycling. It's because recycling is thrown in with the trash, and that's what's causing these low rates. So a lot of people that try to recycle just aren't able to, and it's completely out of their control, even if they throw it into the recycling bin, even if it's picked up by the recycling. And so we would try to get people to choose us because they would actually know that the recycling that they're trying to recycle correctly is being done.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I need to give judges a minute to fill out their forms, which I did not do previously. But I also want to introduce, we have a special guest, Dean Ron Anderson, Dean of the Fox Business School is here. So. Wait a minute, judges. Don't forget, while the judges are commenting, vote for your favorite. I should tap dance. Okay, so I'd like to introduce our next undergraduate finalist with Isolation Medical, Akshat Awalya.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Akshat Ahluwalia, and I came up with the idea of Isolated Medicals, medicine everywhere. At Isolated Medicals, we are trying to create a model to deliver medicines to the rural parts of India, and we would not be hiring regular delivery agents, but we would be using commuters traveling to buses through villages, coming from cities as delivery agents to deliver medicines, and we would ensure the medicine reaches its destinations. And 67% of this population of India lives in rural parts. Out of them, 37% have no pharmacies available near 30-mile radius. I am one of these 67% and 37%. I've lived in a village my whole life, and I used to see my grandmother asking my dad to bring her medicines, and he used to just tell her that whenever I go to the city, I'll get it for you. That's when I come up with this idea that what if there's an idea that someone who's just actually coming from the city every day just gets medicines to dependents in villages. Our customers would be dependents in the rural areas, pharmacies in the cities, who we would tie up with, the pharma companies, restaurants, dhaba, I'll explain this later, and small medical centers or anganwadis in villages. These are small medical centers in villages. We got a picture of the anganwadi right here. And next, product overview. Only product that's giving an end-to-end solution to this problem. Incentive model. So why would these people deliver for us? Because we would incentivize them with a free bus ticket or a free meal. And authentic, designed with the help and input of real-time customers in my village. Why the incentives are important and why would they go a long way. 76% of people in India live below poverty line, out of which 71% are not even able to afford a meal for themselves. So these people who just go to the city to do labor or whatever and use buses would be our ideal delivery agents, because they would not have to do much extra hard work and they would be saving on daily expenses like the bus ticket or being able to provide a meal for their family, just get the meal, And our competition, our main competitors are 1MG, that is a company owned by Tata, and they are a for-profit. They are very expensive. That's why they're not ideal. Company B is Tata Trust. They set up camps in villages and deliver medicines to the needy people in the villages, but they're also inconsistent, and they set up camps time to time, and no one knows when the camp is going to be set up. It's not a pre-notice. Also, company C, NetMeds, that's a new startup that's come up. They're delivering to the cities right now, but they're planning to expand to rural India, but it's going to be a long way for them. That's a competitive layout, why Isolated Medicals is the best. Talking about survival and growth, the total addressable market of pharma in rural India is $33 billion with 12 to 14% growth compounded annually. Partner with pharmacies. We will partner with pharmacies to create a trusted network of drugs, a trusted network to get drugs to the people in the villages so that they don't get fake medicine or whatever, and expand delivery by communicating and partnering with daily commuters who commute from cities to, say, a milkman who just goes to the city to get his milk or deliver it, or a vegetable vendor who's going to get vegetables from the city. That's about it. Thank you.
I love this idea, and great job. My question is, how would you design against fraud and possibly liability in the wrong drugs going to the wrong people or the right drugs going to the wrong people?
That's why we talked about creating a model with trusted pharmacies, so that we have pharmacies to trust enough that they provide the right drugs to the people, and who's the delivery agent who opens the app and finds the pharmacies who are trusted and verified by us only come up to the app, and we cut down on problems like these. Also, we would create a track-in for the app so that the medicine reaches its destination and no one just sells it to a black market because it's an expensive product.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for your presentation. You had a slide up there that I thought was very interesting, and it specifically talked about your competitors' pricing consistency. And I'm curious to know, how would you be able to manage pricing as well as not be a venture or a business that is inconsistent, similar to your competitors?
So, talking about competitors, most of them are acting as a delivery agent or a logistic company, but we would create a whole model where we partner with the pharmacies, also partner with the pharma brands later, because I cannot explain the whole thing because Indian pharma market is a bit different from here, but we would be enforcing pharmacies to deliver more of the branded drugs compared to generic drugs, so that we can partner with the pharma brands and we don't have to charge our customers eventually to survive and grow.
Thank you.
Thanks, love the presentation. I was thinking if the app is free to the user, if the service is free, but it relies on the person going to the city every day to be willing to pick it up and bring it back and drop it off, like what's the incentive for that stakeholder? Is it a paid thing, like a delivery service like Uber Eats or something? Like,
no, it's not a paid thing. We're not hiring them. We're incentivizing them with a free bus ticket or free meal. A free bus ticket would go a long way, because I think, talking about the poverty in India, it's a big charge for a lot of people.
Makes sense. I think I missed that. Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Judges are ready. Okay, so next up is Sophia Whitney and Mermaid.
Hi, my name is Sophia Whitney, and I'm here today to tell you about my company, Mermaid. Did you know that when you drink alcohol, you could be hurting the environment? The overproduction of things like corn and wheat, both commonly used to make alcohol, have negatively impacted the environment, especially in the US. This is due to the overuse of land and water, as well as pollution from pesticides and fertilizers, which impact the water, soil, and atmosphere. But mead, which uses honey to make alcohol, is not a burden to the environment, but a benefit, as it increases the need for honeybees and flowers, which are found lacking in many ecosystems. Mead is not only good for the environment, but it tastes good while doing it, which brings us to my product, Mermead. For people over 21, which in the United States is about 197 million people, Mermead is a mead company that creates sweet, alcoholic, and natural beverages for people over 21. Mead is a versatile and ancient beverage made from fermented honey, which also makes it gluten-free. The market for mead is projected to grow at a CAGR of 18.71% from 2021 to 2028. See, when I turned 21 and entered the world of alcohol, I found that many people did not like the taste of the alcohol they drank. To confirm this, I surveyed 40 members of the target market and found that the taste satisfaction for many popular alcohols was low. I wanted to see how mead measured up, so I conducted taste tests with a competitor's mead, as mine is currently fermenting, and found that every person surveyed was at least somewhat satisfied with the taste. Taste was also one of the most important factors for alcohol purchase, according to my survey, so Mermead will develop our own flavorful mead recipe that will be just as tasty, if not more so. The other alcohol companies in the category are not as sustainable, and other than cider, have low taste satisfaction. Colony Meadery is an established brand, however, its high price, lack of availability, and lack of promotion are weaknesses. Unlike other mead companies, Mermead will be marketed towards younger people and packaged to create more value in smaller cans for safer alcohol consumption. Before I bring Mermead to the market, there are a few unknowns I must address. For example, I'm currently searching for a professional mead brewer and have joined the Philadelphia Beekeepers Guild to source honey and meet experienced mead makers. I've also considered approaching breweries to white label my product. I'll also need a liquor license and will approach other Temple alcohol entrepreneurs for advice, and have also considered going to states with more lenient liquor laws. I'll also need more funding and plan to apply for the Lori Herman Bush Seed Fund and the Be Your Own Boss Bowl. It's going to take some help to make Mermead happen, but together we can be the change the alcohol industry needs. Thank you. I also have some samples for you guys. This is not my mead yet, but a lot of people haven't had mead, so just so you can see what it tastes like. And that is 6.5% alcohol, just for your information.
Just one quick question. How did you, thank you. I personally have never heard of this before, but how did you discover this idea?
So one time at Thanksgiving, my parents got this mead from a place in Lancaster, and it completely blew my mind because up until that point, I had never tasted alcohol that I liked. And I was like, what is this, and why are we all not drinking it? And so that's why I was like, I need to bring this to everyone. And then when I found out it was good for the environment, I was like, even better.
Thank you.
Thanks. Very interesting. I bartended my way through my undergrad at Temple, so I empathize. So I'm interested in the impact on the climate side. So I think the product piece is clear to me. Say a little more about just how enacting this product and making that change would lead to some measurable change in the climate.
Yeah, so corn and wheat take up a lot of land in the US, which takes away where a lot of pollinators like butterflies and bees live. And then not only is that land gone, but the use of pesticides like neonics or glyphosate-based pesticides kill the crops that they use, or I guess the weeds that we consider weeds, that they live on. So it kills off pollinators like bees, which I think contribute to like 1/3 of our food. So this would help the bees and then help us in turn.
Thank you.
I like the way this took a turn, because at first I thought you were just going to make us feel guilty about drinking, but you've just given us another avenue, which I really appreciate. Thank you. I love this idea. Have you thought about like the cost of production? Have you gone down?
Yeah, so honey is probably the most expensive cost of production. But if we were to produce our own honey with the bees, I've heard that the startup costs from the Beekeepers Guild are the most expensive, but then once you kind of get it going, the bees are doing most of the work and you don't have to pay them. So that it would eventually be less money. Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
Oh, they're getting faster. I didn't give them any time before. Judges ready? Judges are ready. Okay, so I'd like to introduce Mason Rainey with Tyler Teaching Assistant.
Hello, my name is Mason Rainey, and Tyler Teaching Artist, or TTA, is a program where Tyler students teach younger students about art making. This breaks away from the model most art classes operate in, with only one teacher leading the class. Instead, students work one-on-one with a mentor, allowing them to build meaningful relationships that can help them in their future journey within the arts. Art education is severely underfunded. Schools in low-income areas that already lack proper funding are deprived of the materials and instructors needed to teach art classes. Students are excluded from learning valuable art-making skills that can help them to express themselves and connect with others. They're also excluded from future career opportunities within the arts. In the TTA program, Tyler students would volunteer to be paired with a younger student from a participating school for a year. Tyler students would then travel to their designated schools once or twice a week to work with their students to create projects revolving around fun themes. At the end of the year, an art show would be held where students can display their work or sell their work if they so choose. Some competitors of TTA are Urban Youth Gallery, Artsphere Inc., and the Young Artists Academy at PAFA. One of the most notable aspects that makes TTA different from these programs is the one-on-one teaching. This gives students exclusive guidance and attention, as well as allows them to build an impactful bond with their mentor. Another competitor is Big Brothers Big Sisters, a mentorship program where older individuals are paired with younger individuals to build an impactful bond that can inspire and empower the youth. TTA offers something similar, but with an emphasis on improving the art-making skills of the younger students. Tyler students and local school students, ranging from kindergarten to middle school age, would use this program. Stakeholders include Tyler faculty, school faculty, and the overall North Philadelphia community. Art education benefits the community overall. A 2017 UPenn study found that communities with greater access to art and cultural resources had healthier neighborhoods and reduced crime rates. Some challenges is student participation from both Tyler students and local schools. This can be solved by offering Tyler students class credit incentives, as well as having Tyler officials go to local schools to promote the program. To ensure youth's comfort and safety, Tyler students would be required to get all necessary clearances, such as FBI fingerprints, background checks, etc., as well as the meetings would be monitored in a safe environment within the classroom by a trusted teacher. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm curious to know, how would you market your program to students? I think earlier you talked about being able to market your idea to different stakeholders. Mm-hmm. But I'm always curious, because I think there's a lot of value in good programming and education, but I've found that it's very difficult to market different good ideas to end users?
Well, by having Tyler officials talk about, the benefits to art classes and art education. In a lot of schools in this area, there is a lack of art education. I worked in a high school and a lot of them had very little art experience and wish that they did. So I think just by offering this program, it gives them a lot of students might be able to, or would be excited to jump on board with this sort of program.
Okay, thank you. People's Choice Award vote. And our judges look like they're ready. Yes. So next up are our upper track finalists. And our first presenter is Dr. June Howell. I will say Dr. Howell is going to come to us remotely because she is a geriatric doctor at Temple Hospital. She's exposed to a lot of people with COVID, so she didn't want to expose anyone here. And whatever we have, she didn't want to bring it back to the geriatric population.
Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, I'll get started. Hello, I'm Dr. Arvinsiri Howell. I'm the founder of Accessum. For 46 million Americans in 1,800 hospitals in rural America, their risk of death is 184% higher than their urban counterparts. This is because access to specialists is 70%. Yeah. Sorry.
Hi, it's Lindsay. Sorry. Do you mind to start back from the beginning?
Sure, yeah.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hello, I'm Dr. Arvinsiri Howell. I'm the founder of Accessum. For 46 million Americans in 1,800 hospitals in rural America, their risk of death is 184% higher than their urban counterparts. This is because access to specialists is 70% lower in rural areas. Although there are many telemedicine companies out there, most only do outpatient care or they charge subscription fees, making it unaffordable to rural hospitals. They also don't credential doctors with partner hospitals, so they need additional platforms and lock-ins, making their process cumbersome. We solve this problem by working with rural hospitals to identify and recruit needed specialists. We then credential them to fully integrate into the hospital's existing telehealth platform, meaning no extra passwords and no subscription fees because we don't have any platform cost. We then help doctors earn by billing insurance, taking a percentage as finder's fee, all at no cost to patients. We face two main challenges. First, we expect implementation challenges because each hospital has a unique workflow. We will hire local nurses to be our logistic liaisons. They will give us local know-how and help us plan rapid iteration cycles to work out the kinks. We'll also target hospitals within the same network to benefit from economies of scale. Second, competitors may copy our model, but catch-up credentialing takes time, giving Accessum the first mover advantage. For Global Innovation Award, we plan to expand globally to Africa, India, and Thailand, where I have worked and where the lack of specialists is severe. We target private pay patients, so we won't be dealing with local insurance. Because American board certification is considered the gold standard in developing countries, most patients trust American doctors, even if we don't have local license. We'll also ask patients to sign an agreement not to sue. Our specialists give advice, but the actual care is provided by local doctors, so there are no language or cultural barriers. For patients, we tackle healthcare inequity in rural America. We provide the right care at the right time in the right place with immediate access to the same specialists that patients would see in city hospitals. For hospitals, we provide a solution to rural staffing shortage at no cost. For doctors, we provide work-life balance and, most importantly, the sense of purpose that motivates us to do our best work. Accessum is a win-win for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. Great presentation. My question to you is, there's a new law about reimbursing hospitals, but making them not have overnight stays. How will that new rule or regulation or law affect what you're trying to do?
That doesn't affect us at all because specialist consult billing has nothing to do with patients staying over or not.
Thank you.
I just had a question to clarify. Can you say a little more about what it would look like to recruit the specialists and get them set up? That's what I'm a little unclear of. They're doctors that are working in other spaces that are not in rural areas that could be deployed to there? Or could you say a little more about that part of the model?
Sure, yeah. So we actually have a physician directory built already. We have 17 specialists from 6 specialties joined. And these are mostly really well-trained specialists who work in the cities at big academic hospitals who would otherwise not work in rural areas because of financial or personal reasons. But these are mostly physicians who are like on maternity leave, who would maybe want to work a little bit, but cannot like do full-time work. Or I also have physicians who are looking to cut down or are close to retirement who want more flexibility and don't want to work full-time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next up is Tony Lopes with College Cast.
No, I have like. College Cast creates podcasts for good. We believe in the power of storytelling to help drive exponential social change. Podcasts for Good represent a movement to create content that matters. The bottom line is we represent 2 key stakeholders. We empower nonprofit missions by helping nonprofits to repurpose their content into compelling stories of hope. We empower student voices by teaching our junior producers about entrepreneurship, compelling storytelling, and the power of cause marketing. Podcasts for Good provide nonprofit organizations with a channel that leads to better engagement, more impact, and ultimately more donations. We help nonprofits create content that is richer, more authentic, and more memorable. Our painless production process covers everything from planning to recording to editing and distribution. We take what is an overwhelming and complex production process and make it fun easy, and streamlined. The bottom line is we can record a 10-episode podcast season in just 3 days at the nonprofit's location of choice, and then we leave the space like we were never there. We ultimately help nonprofits to innovate the way that they reach their communities and their stakeholders, even on a global scale. Our junior producers provide crucial support to our nonprofit partners, helping them every step of the way. The nonprofit simply has to show up, sit down, and record. We take care of the rest. We ensure that the nonprofit has everything they need to create informative, engaging, and entertaining podcast episodes. To make sure that our junior producers deliver the highest quality services, we require that they complete our comprehensive curriculum. Our team of co-founders and experienced professionals also helps to ensure that each podcast is created at the highest quality and to the nonprofit's expectations. Globally, we can reach exponentially larger audiences with little to no additional investment. And podcasts are expected to grow in the US alone to over 100 million listeners by 2024. We are CollegeCast, more than just podcasts.
Thank you very much. Good presentation. Just really one question. Why did you specifically target this demographic?
Well, we actually started testing this particular market before pivoting CollegeCast into this direction, and we saw the impact with a small local nonprofit. We're actually working with 2 nonprofits as we speak. We've seen significant growth and engagement, and we've seen what podcasting can do for nonprofits, and it helps them to leverage their content on another level.
One follow-up, is there anybody else in that space?
There are other companies, but they're not doing what we're doing. You'd have to go to their studio. They're also not working with college students, frankly.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, thank you. So this is a space that's growing, obviously, but I also think it is becoming a very competitive and a little bit of a crowded space. Mm-hmm. How do you drive listeners to this content?
We have to be working with a nonprofit that's sophisticated enough in their marketing campaigns, because we're not going to reinvent the wheel for them. We're just helping them to reshape their content and deliver it in a different way. But then we teach them how to repurpose this one thing that we do into blog posts, expansion of their website, their email list, their social media campaigns. It's like firewater.
And so is the podcast branded under their, so that it has all their branding attached to it?
Yeah, I mean, we throw in visit collegecastpodcast.com at the end, of course, to try to drive people to our website as well, and to sort of exponentially grow off of everyone's networks. But yes, it is branded for the nonprofit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One, two, check.
Judges, okay? Check. Okay, so next up is Jesse Mel with Food Beats.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much. How's everybody doing? Great. All right. Kick it, Emily. Y'all ready to hear about the best new math game on the market?
Yes. One day in a Philly elementary school, kids tried to learn math, but it wasn't that cool.
They tried to pay attention, but the lessons were boring. They said if they rap it,
our skills will be soaring.
I'm Mr. Bryson and Mr. Mel. The kids are smart
and could all do well.
Multiplication, they could do it. If they rap it, they get right to it.
On tables of twos, how do we do? Rap food names with syllables of two. Patty, pepper, pizza, great. Let's multiply 2 times 8. Patty, pepper, pizza, 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 pepper. I just got better. Multiplying 2s gets my foot in the door. But what if we need multiples of 4?
All we need is food with seeds.
Pomegranate? Yes, indeed.
Pictures and numbers in a game.
Now every kid can learn the same.
My name is Trevane Bryson. I am a math teacher at Laura H. Carnell Elementary.
I'm Jesse Mel. I'm the Drumlines coordinator for Philadelphia School District, and together we have 30 years experience in urban classrooms.
As a math teacher, I'm always worried how kids struggle with basic math skills and multiplication and addition.
And I'm shocked by how many 12th graders graduate high school without the basic math skills it takes them to get a good job or realize when bad people are trying to scam them. We created food beats or tasty timetables addition and multiplication games to help kids learn addition and multiplication in the classroom by rapping together. When I teach kids drums in Philly, they love saying rhythms out loud, and they always seem to remember what they learn. Since rhythms are just counting numbers to a beat, why not teach math the same way?
Let me tell you a story about Greg, who was a student in our pilot program. At first, Greg struggled with multiplication, addition, and confidence. As we did the tasty times table 2 times per week for 6 weeks, at the end, Greg said, Mr. Bryson, I love the way I feel about math right now.
That's amazing. We're seeking help from investors to develop tasty times tables games into a website, trial that website and free pilots to schools across Philadelphia, gather data, and then use that data to improve our dynamic learning system. Then we'll sell subscriptions to the website directly to teachers while we form partnerships with education giants looking to popularize their learning platforms. Our loyal following will spread the word about tasty times tables to principals and teachers who love hip-hop, gamification, and social emotional engagement.
Thank you for your time, Food Beats family. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation. I hate to sound like an educator, but I pitch a lot of ventures to educators. And I guess my question is there any pedagogy, any research to support being able to teach students in this manner?
Yes, it is. Gamification is one way. Typically, the way we taught multiplication is through repetition. You learn it, you memorize it, but through gamification, it's a better way for students to actually gain the concepts, because in that we have also repeated addition, so we have pictures, so we have ways to help kids actually learn how to do those fluency facts, those multiplication facts. So yes.
And I would say too that the way that emotion and social interaction engages the hippocampus and amygdala in the brain in cementing memories really makes the biggest impact as far as learning retention. And that's something that we haven't been able to explore as fully as we need to because there's too much pressure on testing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great presentation and very entertaining. It's pretty brave to get up and rap in front of people. Have you studied how maybe this isn't good for every educator? They might not be able to get people involved in the way that you're talking about. Is it accessible is what I guess I'm trying to say.
I'm really happy you said that, and I would say that educators who know that this is good for their kids are going to use it to great effect in their classrooms. It's not, every game isn't for everybody, but this is filling a very important need in the market for kids that are struggling to learn in any other way besides this.
I have less of a question and more of a comment. I have 9-year-old twin boys at home, and they make me rap everything.
That's amazing.
At breakfast and in the evening, they just throw me words and make me come up with rap songs. So I think maybe you're onto something.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next up is Jademan Baker with Prenewal.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jademan Baker, and I'm the founder of Prenewal. We design innovative care kits for people experiencing homelessness. Living in New York for the past 3.5 years, this image has become my everyday reality. 150 million people worldwide are experiencing homelessness. And although people have their own experiences, we believe that all people should have access to personal care essentials, no matter your housing status. Charitable organizations around the world are encouraging people to donate DIY care kits like this one. However, there are challenges in creating these kits. Shopping for kit components is very time-consuming. Once the kits and supplies are exhausted, it's a temporary fix. People are still in need of supplies. And are these kits actually effective in addressing pressing needs? Unlike generic DIY kits, Prenewal kits are more sustainable, time efficient, and easily accessible. Made from waterproof textiles, upcycled from textiles destined for landfills, we create the Prenewal kit. In the Prenewal kit, sorry, I'm a little nervous. In the Prenewal kit, we offer personal care items, clothing, and also food. Each kit varies in its offering based on the specific needs of men, women, and children. However, each kit comes with a Prenewal refill card. With this card, people can access refills at locations, at vending machine locations throughout the city. Positioned in high traffic areas like gas stations, bus stations, and through retailers, third-party retailers, our kits and refills are accessible 24/7. So starting locally, we plan to disseminate our kits, prototype, test, and build a strong brand presence, and then transition to internationally helping and assisting people with homelessness by partnering with organizations and government entities to bring supplies to the people in need. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm interested to learn a little about how would you cover cost to make those kits and I guess to stock those kits.
Yeah, so we would go like the wholesale route, buying supplies that go in the kits. I have a fashion design background, so I would lean into the freelancing side to actually sew and manufacture the kits. And then the materials for the kits are low cost, There's an organization in New York that we'll partner with to get post-use or pre-use textiles to upcycle our kids.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, just a question around, curious to hear any thoughts you have around the workforce you might need to handle this, because it sounds like it's very user-friendly to the customer, but on the back end, the stocking and maintenance and some of those things. Can you share a little more about your thoughts about what kind of team you would need to be able to do that?
So we want to focus this around the social aspect. We'll probably work a lot more with volunteers, and then the manufacturing part will be the paid labor costs. But we wanted to be very involved in volunteers stacking these kits, producing these kits for us to give away.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, so next up is Caitlin Rudisil.
Oh, I have a mic. Lack of access to educational digital skills academy courses affects millions of low-income individuals in low-income communities across the developing world. And the Via Lista Foundation is looking to make realistic changes. Through our needs assessment survey conducted with individuals like Kavi and Sunita within the Viarsar Party community of Chennai, India, we have identified a problem to the solution that they have identified. We recognize that there are numerous competitors in this field, such as private tutors, university courses, and courses that you can pay for. However, we also recognize the strength of our competitors, that they are well established and that they are well known within the student community as well as potential employers. However, we recognize their faults. The first being you have to pay to take these courses, and this is a major barrier for students from low-income communities. The second being that when students graduate from these courses, there's no guarantee that they come out with a job, and that is a really big gamble for children who come from low-income communities. And the third being transportation. And so these community centers are not really located equally throughout the city. So the Via Lista Foundation wants to set up the Via Lista Digital Skills Academy, a free community center, professional digital skills-based education course that works collaboratively with the King's Cornerstone International College. What really sets us apart is that our course is free of cost to students within the community. The second being that the students will be guaranteed a job following graduation from our course because we have built relationships with employers within the community. And the third being that we acquired a site right within the Viarsar Party community to get rid of that barrier of access to the building. And so to date, some of the outcomes and things we are looking to impact is to improve like job opportunities through expanding their employable skills. We also want to improve their digital skills proficiency, and we also want to improve family income and quality of life. And so to date, we have realized that with our funds and resources that we have right now, we can support 750 students. And we will continually assess progress through the pre and post graduation surveys. And so some unknown challenges that we may face is that we are working with other nonprofits in India, and so we have to collaborate with the US leadership team as well as the teams in India. We also need constant funding for our project, and so we want to ensure that students are being able to enroll in this course for free, and we want to expand as well. And so these are our partners that we are currently partnered with, but our major partners are Sunita and Kavi.
Great presentation, and the uniqueness about having jobs at the end sounds fantastic. How can you sort of, I don't want to say guarantee because you didn't use that word, but how can you have that ability to say, if you go through this course, you'll get a job?
Right, so I'll go back. And so one of our partners is the Praise Foundation. They are an on-the-ground nonprofit organization. We're in India, and I have worked with them in the past through other global projects. And so basically they have the connections with the employers, and they have talked with these employers, and they said, if we open up this course here, will you be interested in the students that graduate from the course and providing them a job? And because the digital skills realm is expanding so rapidly, the need for individuals in this field is very important.
Thank you.
Just a question about validating this on the student side.
Right.
Could you share a little bit about the work or thought you put in to sort of confirm that there's an appetite to take these courses? It makes sense on the need to get a job, but just interested in that side.
Right.
Yeah.
So we conducted two sort of surveys. The first one, our needs assessment surveys, was really addressing what problem are they facing. Our second one, we came up with the solution, and then we went back with the community, set up a little call with potential individuals who can enroll in the course, and we talked to them about the community, we pitched it to them, and we said, would this be something you're really interested in? Is this something that you guys can even do with your schedule? And they were very interested, they were very excited. I think just given the opportunity to move out of the realm of closed off opportunities that they have presented to them at the moment, because many of them can't even obtain higher education because they have to drop out of school to support their family as is.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now you've seen all 10 presentations. Vote for your People's Choice Award. So we are now in transition time, which means the judges are going to go off into a sealed room and discuss their feedback on everyone and ultimately decide on the award winners. This is like the Academy Awards. They're going, with armed guards, sealed envelopes. Okay, so while they are deliberating, we have the honor of having a guest speaker led by Dr. Wayne Williams. And Wayne is an accounting professor who has been with us on this social program from the day it started 7 years ago. And Wayne will introduce our very special guest speaker while your furniture is moved up to the podium so everyone could see you clearly.
Good. Thank you so much, Alan. Everybody stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. So I'm not food beats, but I know sitting there you get really bored and kind of like get the energy moving because we got a special guest and I want to make sure that everybody is attentive. So thank you very much. My name is Wayne Williams. I am a Temple Owl, hoot hoot, and I'm going to the game afterwards tonight, last game, and we're going to beat UCF. And I teach in the accounting department, so I'm over here in the Fox School of Business. So I know not everyone here is a business student, but I have the pleasure of introducing Nancy Gephart. Nancy is a partner over the capital markets part of Shift Capital. And so I'm going to field her with some questions. She's going to talk about her work. She's amazing. So I think we're all set up. So come on up, Nancy.
Thank you.
Yeah, right there. So I'm going to read a few things I know about you, which is like this laundry list of just wonderful things. You are super accomplished and being acknowledged for all the good work that you do. So you were just awarded number 3 on the top 50 Pennsylvanians who are making the world a better place. Wow. Wow. You're the Next City Vanguard Fellow. And then in 2020, Philadelphia Business Journal awarded you with the 2020 Rising Star of the Year. And you're also a partner in the capital markets for Shift Capital. And in your spare time, you're on the board of directors for the Coalition for the Homeless. Good grief. So thank you for figuring out some time in order to come down with us. Thank you, Nancy, for being here. So my first question, I'm going to just pass you the microphone, is can you tell us about Shift Capital? Can you tell us about what you do at Shift Capital? How big is Shift Capital? What does it do? And then can you tell us your background? How did you get to that work?
Absolutely. And it's so great to be here with all of you. I caught the last couple of pitches and they were amazing. I can only imagine how great all of them were. But yeah, as Wayne mentioned, my name is Nancy Gephart. I am sadly not a Temple alum. I'm feeling a little left out, but that's all right. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here today. Shift Capital is a social impact oriented real estate development company. We're about 10 years old. And we really were started and exist in order to address some of the inequalities in the real estate industry and figure out how to use real estate as a tool for social change in low-income neighborhoods. So we started really focused on 2 neighborhoods in Philadelphia. One is the Kensington neighborhood. So if you go kind of through the like cool part of Kensington and keep going where it gets a little bit rougher, we have a large portfolio of stuff up there. And then our other neighborhood is right here on North Broad. If you pass Temple, go up to Temple Medical, there's a cluster of properties that we own on the corner of Broad, Germantown, and Erie. And so we basically bought all of these properties vacant. A lot of them were blighted. A lot of them had been vacant and blighted for 40 years, 50 years. And so they really were dragging on those neighborhoods. And we wanted to bring them back online in a way that was going to be meaningful and really kind of address some of the needs for the neighbors that were there. So we are about halfway through our first fund and have turned those buildings that we picked up into everything from affordable housing to we have 2 charter schools, we have health centers, we have a lot of retail. We were really trying to get small businesses in retail spaces. We have artist and maker spaces. We're building a hotel. We have a little bit of everything and really focused on bringing kind of jobs, good quality, affordable housing, and safe spaces to those neighborhoods. So I could go on and on about what we're doing. That's kind of the overview. And my role within Shift, I lead our capital markets team. So I have the enviable or unenviable task of figuring out how to pay for stuff. Between
talk about that. How do you pay to do all of these really super good projects? Where does the funding come from?
Yeah, it is a good question. We take funds from everywhere because as you can imagine, building affordable housing, not a super lucrative business, but we have an awesome team that is getting grants from the government, from the state, from the city. We work with a lot of different tax credit programs. We have 2 different private equity funds that are filled with investors that are really interested in making impactful projects work. So that's been great. A lot of debt. Really, if there is a source of funding out there for these types of projects, we will find it. So yeah, we have about $400 million of real estate in our portfolio, so have raised a lot of money so far.
Awesome, good. So tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, where did you go to school, how that influenced you wanting to go and do this kind of work.
Yeah, so I grew up in the Philadelphia area in Newtown Square, so the western suburbs. And yeah, so spent a lot of time downtown as a kid. I always knew I wanted to go into the impact space. But to be honest, I didn't really know that like real estate was a thing, and I definitely didn't know it was a thing that I wanted to do. But I ended up going to grad school in Michigan and spent a lot of time in Detroit. If there was ever a city that had a lot of real estate needs and opportunities, it is the city of Detroit. So yeah, spent a lot of time in Detroit learning about real estate and how real estate can be used as kind of an agent for change. And so ended up working for a nonprofit lender that was putting money into impactful projects all over the country. And then about 5 years ago, moved back to Philly and joined Shift, and am now kind of working to get our stuff out the ground.
Awesome. Well, welcome back to Philly. I actually have been in Detroit, and that's the first time I saw a building. Like, we think Philadelphia is blighted. I saw skyscrapers with the windows, they were blown out. That was incredible.
It's crazy.
So Shift is a B Corp, right? So a lot of times, if you're in a business school, other people kind of see folks who are in a business school like me as like capitalists. And so we're focused in on profit. How do you earn a profit, right? But you can do good by making a social impact while doing well. So can you describe what is a B Corp, and how does that go about funding a project, and how does it work?
Yeah, so do people generally know, does anyone here know what a B Corp is? Okay, so we got a couple people. That's good. We're trying to spread the word on B Corps. So it is a legal status that a company can get, and it's available to anything from like the Shift Capitals to Patagonia and Seventh Generation and other big name brands that many people would know. And it essentially is a certification that a social impact is baked into the workings of the company. So it is an independent body that certifies it, and they go through and they'll look at your bylaws, they'll make sure that you're reporting on impact, they'll make sure that kind of your leadership is aligned with what you're trying to do. And yeah, it's an interesting list of companies. I suggest people look it up. We were actually the first real estate company to become a B Corp. Most of them are more kind of consumer products. It's a lot of Patagonias and Ben & Jerry's. And so it was exciting to really kind of take that framework, adapt it for real estate. And then since we got the B Corp certification, other real estate developers have been able to do that as well. So yeah, it's a good certification that really just tells our investors and partners and the neighborhood organizations we work with that like we're actually serious about making impact. We're not just kind of walking around talking about it. It is baked into everything that we do.
How do you develop a strategy, right? Sometimes I hear people say Philadelphia neighborhoods are being gentrified versus those neighborhoods are being developed to improve the quality of life. How does your company develop the strategy about the best approach to going into those neighborhoods that you talked about?
Yeah, it's a tough question. The G word, gentrification, is something we talk about often and is a really big kind of risk and challenge to what we're doing. A lot of the fear that people have about gentrification kind of comes down to lack of trust and also kind of cultural differences of people that are coming into these neighborhoods versus the kind of cultural fabric that's there. So we've attacked that on kind of a couple different angles. We work really, really hard to get on the ground in the neighborhoods that we're working with, know the people on blocks, gain their trust. We hire a lot of people from those neighborhoods. We have a property management team that's out on the street every single day. We run community programming. So I think that's been helpful, that people really know us. Our offices are in Kensington. They see us every day. So I think that that really helps. And then the second piece of it is really being thoughtful about building buildings and programming them in a way that's going to be accessible to people that are living there. So rather than putting luxury condos in the middle of Kensington or up on North Broad, having it be mixed income, or having it have community space so that people feel welcome and can actually come into those buildings. We actually just rolled out what we're calling our Good Neighbor program, that is giving residents money off of their rent in order to volunteer at community organizations. So we found that that was a good way to have, even if you're bringing new residents into the neighborhood, it connects them with the people that are there and kind of builds that cultural fabric with everyone being involved. So yeah, I think it's something we think a lot about, and we try really hard to build buildings that people are gonna feel like they fit in the neighborhood and everyone's included, but it's a work in progress. It's a tough issue.
Absolutely. So I know that, and you can see our students here and staff and faculty are really interested in social impact. So how do you leverage this unique, wonderful group of students? This is their focus. How can they get involved with Shift Capital? By the way, the website is shiftcapital.us, right?
That is it.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, so in your phone, please look up shiftcapital.us. It's a really beautiful website. How do we get involved?
Yeah, I mean, endless ways to get involved. If anyone wants to talk about internships or projects, definitely let us know. We love bringing people into kind of the Shift ecosystem. We run a lot of different programs with our nonprofit partners that have people from different universities that are involved. We actually ran a small business challenge a couple of years ago that was having people pitch small businesses, and we would give them a year of free rent in a storefront and $10,000 if they won, and actually had a bunch of Temple businesses apply and a couple of them win. And so we love to kind of get that energy into all of our spaces. Yeah, I think nothing is off the table. We've partnered with design students on designing parks. We have a couple of vacant lots that we have set aside for future development, but haven't done anything with them yet. And so have had really sharp design students figure out how to program them and make them look good and it kind of welcoming while we're still trying to get our ducks in a row to build on them. So yeah, we're always open and looking to partner with people. I think this work is hard, and as everyone in this room knows, it takes kind of everyone and a lot of creativity and enthusiasm to get impactful projects off the ground. So yeah, definitely reach out to me, go to our website. We love to, the more the merrier. Love to bring people in.
Told you she was awesome. So let me ask you, this is a kind of interesting question. Knowing what you know and knowing how people feel, how would you describe future Philadelphia? What is Philadelphia becoming?
Oh no, that's a tough question. This makes me wish that I had paid more attention to the mayoral forums, because I'm sure they all have great answers to this question. I will say the way that we're thinking about it at Shift is we're really focused on activating the neighborhoods. I think Philadelphia historically has put a lot of emphasis on downtown and having a thriving downtown. But in reality, there are so many amazing neighborhoods in this city, and some that have gotten very little attention over the years. And so I think we think about this as, all right, how can we leverage the energy in the neighborhoods and bring opportunity out to the neighborhoods so that people can actually get kind of healthier lifestyles and achieve everything they want to achieve. So I would love to see that in the future. I don't have like a really eloquent mayoral answer, but I guess that's my half answer.
That's awesome. Philadelphia has historically been named the city of neighborhoods. So now that we kind of have a context for kind of what Shift Capital is, what you do, can you talk about a project specifically that you like, that was like, that went well, that was the one that we did it right?
That's a great question. I'll give you a prior one and one in the hopper, because we have a bunch in our pipeline. So we partnered with a group called Mosaic Development Partners that some may know. They're a Black-led development group in the city that's growing really rapidly. And we went in together and partnered with the Philadelphia Housing Authority on a project in the Sharswood neighborhood, so not too far from here. And the Housing Authority essentially gave us an entire block of land in Sharswood and said, do what you want with this. The only requirements are that you need to have a grocery store and you need to have a health center. Other than that, knock yourself out. And so it was a really fun design process. We worked really closely with the Sharswood neighborhood groups and the Housing Authority, and we were able to get an amazing grocery operator, a really strong healthcare operator. We have 98 units of affordable housing. We have a bunch of retail space that's going to reactivate the Ridge Avenue corridor. And that project is really wrapping up now. So it was a challenge. We did it during COVID, which was all sorts of fun and headaches, but it really did come together in an exciting way. It's on 21st and Ridge. If anyone wants to go visit, it's a good time. But yeah, so we're really happy with that. And then I would say the future one, we are in the process of, if people have driven up Broad Street from here, you'll pass Temple Medical on your left, and on your right is a 14-story Art Deco skyscraper that's been vacant for about 50 years. We're in the process, we're breaking ground in 2 months to turn that into a hotel that will serve the Temple campus, the Temple Medical campus. It has a ton of community space. It's creating 180 jobs in that neighborhood, which we're really excited about. So that one's pretty exciting too.
Yep, I had the good fortune in my other life. I'm also on the loan committee for PIDC.
Oh,
so I got a chance to see that Sharswood project as it was coming. Very complicated financing in order to deliver that, but wow, what a wonderful project. Any words of wisdom to young folks who are here, or those who want to get involved in the social impact sector of our economy?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys are already off to like a roaring start here. I would just encourage you to try a lot of different things as you're going through kind of your careers. I know when I was in college, as an example, I was like dead set that I was going to go into a nonprofit. Like I was going to save the world. It was going to be a whole thing. And I learned that nonprofits weren't really right for me and my kind of work style. And so did some venture capital stuff, which was really exciting, and ended up in real estate. But had you asked me in college, there was no chance I would have told you I was going to be in impact real estate. So I think as you're kind of going through, keep an open mind, try a lot of different stuff, because there are a lot of different ways that you can build a really impactful career. And each person kind of has a different thing that's right for them.
I think there's this intersection between public and private. When those two things come together, that's when you really see some traction and things happen. It doesn't have to be all, let me do it in the public sector where somebody's going to fund it, or it's all in the private sector where they're focused on the bottom line. It's the intersection of the two, I think, that makes it really help. So I got a chance. Is there anybody who would like to ask Nancy a question about her role and about the social impact arena? Is there anybody who would like to ask a question? Sure. You can stand on up.
So yeah, so it took us, I would say, a little bit longer than is typical, just because they didn't have rules for real estate companies as B Corps when we started. So we were kind of building the plane as we were flying it, trying to get our B Corp certification. But I would say all in, it probably took 6 months, just to kind of help them build out their rule book. And also, I mean, there were things associated with that certification that we had to move around some of our structures to achieve as well. Yes, I will say I was not directly involved with our B Corp certification initiative. So yes, I do know we had an attorney. I couldn't tell you which one it was, but I could find that.
For some context, how big is Shift Capital?
We have about 35 people on staff, so it's not huge. We are vertically integrated, which has been really interesting. We found that in order to really control the impact and quality of what we were doing, we had to bring everything in-house. And so we have all of our own property management. We have a construction team that's growing really quickly. But yeah, we're at about 35 now.
In terms of size of projects, is there like a sweet spot for the work that you do?
I would say yes. That being said, we are totally, we've gotten more disciplined about saying no to things over time, but it's hard to say no to really impactful projects. And so we truly do own everything from single family row homes that are worth, I don't know, maybe $100,000 max, to our largest project. We have expanded out a little bit beyond Philadelphia at this point, and we have a building that's worth probably $70 million in Newark, New Jersey is probably our largest one.
Are there specific policies? I heard you mention something like new markets, tax credit, financing. Are there specific policies that kind of facilitate and help your work?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we
lobby for this, or does it just?
You do, yeah. There are some that exist. So we use a lot of tax credit programs. I know way more about tax law than I ever wanted to know, but there are a lot of really great tax credit programs in the U.S. supporting low-income housing and mixed-use development in low-income neighborhoods and historic preservation and all sorts of stuff. There are a number of grants on the state level, which you do have to lobby for. Tax credits are usually more straightforward. Grants on the state level, we do have a lobbyist. It's really competitive in this city and state, so we work really hard to make sure that we're top of mind for those. We get a lot of grants from the city that are generally smaller, but still really helpful in terms of storefront improvement grants and stormwater grants and kind of smaller things that help make the numbers work. But yeah, it is, there are a number of sources out there and they're always changing. So we're trying to keep up and get creative and see what we can use.
That's awesome. Anybody else have a question? Yes.
How do you shape your value proposition to bring together for-profit entities with significant funding while balancing nonprofit funding and combining those very different perspectives into a unified mission?
Yeah, so we it's funny, Shift Capital actually is not a company in and of itself. We are a collection of a bazillion different LLCs that we put together for exactly that purpose. Because if you're bringing together public funding, private funding, nonprofit stuff, you have to kind of separate them all so that you can structure it legally in a way that facilitates all of them getting the benefit that they want. So we have our stuff in this, or not this neighborhood, but on North Broad and over in Kensington. All of the equity from that comes from our first private equity fund, which was the Shift Neighborhood Fund. We bring in debt on a project-by-project basis. We bring in some equity on a project-by-project basis. We have a nonprofit that funnels grants through to projects. So I could draw you an enormous org chart, but the short answer is we have a lot of LLCs that are necessary, and our lawyers love us because we pay them stupid amounts of money for that.
Awesome. How about anybody else that has a question for Nancy? Nancy, the state of Pennsylvania, does Shift do things outside of Philadelphia, or is your focus here in Philadelphia, or do you operate in other markets?
Yeah, so we started very focused on Philadelphia. We're all here. We are on the ground every single day, and that was just really important to us. But in that first fund, we learned a couple of things. The first is that we couldn't replicate the kind of community impact that we had by parachuting into Pittsburgh or Baltimore. Like, we don't know those markets. It's a different vibe. So we were really hesitant to expand into other geographies. And then the second one was that there are a lot of other great developers that are looking to do stuff in their own neighborhoods. So we've actually launched an initiative where we're partnering with other impact-oriented developers to help them get stuff off the ground in their own neighborhoods. So we have projects with partners down in DC and Baltimore. We have stuff in Newark, New Jersey, Rochester, New York, all sorts of places. And that's been driven by finding really high quality partners that we felt like were mission aligned, that we really wanted to kind of add capacity to them and help them make an impact in their own neighborhood.
So because you have all of these different organizations, is it possible that an entrepreneur may in fact be able to kind of scale in partnership with Shift Capital? Have you seen that happen?
Yeah, that's it. That's very much our goal in that initiative. And I'll give you one example. There is a guy that is from West Philly, really wanted to build out a workforce housing portfolio in West Philly. And we partnered with him, I would say 2 years ago at this point, and helped him buy and rehab a 10-unit building. And then he did that. And then we partnered with him again on a 36-unit building. And so he has really, and obviously it's in Philly, so it makes it a little bit easier for us, but he has really been in the neighborhood that he grew up in and cares about and knows. He's really been able to kind of build out his own business with our help, which is really exciting. I think, as I mentioned, we're very much kind of the more the merrier. We can't do all of this work alone. So by helping other entrepreneurs and other developers to gain experience and take on bigger projects, I mean, it helps us and it helps those neighborhoods in the long run.
Is it worthwhile for an early startup entrepreneur to do something like belong to a chamber of commerce or something like that? Is that important to the work that you do, like belonging to different chambers and or other organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going back to the kind of what advice would you give? That should have been my advice, is build your network, because we are nothing without the relationships that we have built. I actually was meeting with one of our banking partners this morning, and we have been building this relationship with them over time, and now they're willing to do pretty much whatever we ask them to do. But it was because of a strong relationship that we were very intentional about building. And I think it goes for finding a job, it goes for finding funding, really anything that you're looking to do in the impact space. It's really all about who you know at the end of the day.
all about the network. That's awesome. So I'm thinking to myself, a question that's kind of brewing in my mind about the work that you've been able to do is, what have you seen in terms of positive impact on residents that are, recipient of the beneficiary of the work that you're doing? Do you know any stories that you could talk about that kind of give you that motivation when times are tough to get through the work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I should say, if you go to our website, we publish an impact report every year, and we try to mix kind of hard data and stories, because at the end of the day, it's like the stories of people in the neighborhood that are really what's motivating to us, and how we've been able to touch their lives. I would say in terms of kind of data, we've created over 600 jobs in the Kensington neighborhood alone. We're really proud of that. We also have partnered with a lot of small businesses and nonprofits to get them into high quality spaces, including a lot that had never had their own space before. So there are name brands that many people would know that are in our buildings, and we've really kind of set them up to succeed by giving them reduced rent or being kind of patient. During COVID, I think a lot of people lost tenants. It was actually interesting. We lost very few tenants because our tenant base was so creative, and some of them funded each other, and they all kind of worked together in the community that we had created in order to be sustainable. And we gave them rent rebates and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the kind of small business community that we've created and the jobs that those small businesses have created has been really, really exciting to see.
Well, can't thank you enough for your time. Thank you for coming out. I'm
Thank
looking
you.
over Professor Kersner. She's about to come get me, right?
Yeah.
So thank you. Please give a warm round of applause to Nancy Gephart. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Come on, Nancy. Don't fall down.
Thank you. I know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you too. You're going to hand them out, right? Okay. Hi. Oh, was that close to you? Maybe. You can probably turn it down a little. I'm pretty loud. We can all say, if everyone wants to say hi to everybody watching on YouTube. Hi. Hi. They're all waving. I didn't turn the camera around. Do you want to do these, or do you want me to? I just realized. Say thank you to people. Oh, thank you. Sorry, I forgot this slide was there, and I told you I'd be on it.
So as I mentioned before, this is a university-wide effort. I'd like to thank Blackstone Launchpad and Julie, who's also been a member of our team from day one on this social initiative, Fox Business School, Startup Tree, anyone who wants anything to do with innovation and entrepreneurship and find free mentors, register for the Temple Stream of Startup Tree. Beasley School of Law, Net Impact, a very worthwhile student organization focused on doing good. The Office of Sustainability, Entrepreneurial Student Association, and the Small Business Development Center. So thanks to all our partners. And to our sponsors, who are IEI, Cyber, Jeff, where are you, Jeff? Jeff, who runs our cyber program, and the 1810 Accelerator, which you're sitting in. Join, it's free. It's a great place to work, a great place to network with other socially oriented and entrepreneurial folk. BYOB, which is the granddaddy and grandmommy of all the competitions, over $100,000 of prize money and in-service awards. The submission deadline for this is March 22nd. So be sure, if you have a business, a lot of you people who presented today and others of you, submit for the BYOBB. It's a great experience. You'll get free mentoring, coaching, and you'll really be able to develop yourself and your ideas. We want to hear from you, so scan this. We're always looking for feedback. This is not the People's Choice Award. You can relax. So we're always looking to hear from you, what you like, what you don't like, what types of programs you would like us to have. We're here as a service organization, so please scan and provide your thoughts.
Okay, great. Just going to get the chairs. Thank you. While the chairs are coming off stage, thank you for doing that. Y'all can leave that table if that's okay. If you are winning an award, please come up. Alan's going to hand you a certificate. Ellie's going to take some quick pictures, and if we can ask all of the presenters, and if the judges are able to just stay for, I would say at this point, maybe 7 to 10 minutes, so that we could just take a couple pictures on this stage after we wrap. And so there's 7 awards, so this will probably take maybe 7 minutes. Okay, thanks. All right. The first award of the night goes to the second place team in the undergraduate track, and that's Alliance App. If you want to stand in the middle more. Just Ellie. Oh. If that's your mom, I promise I'll get her pictures. Okay, yeah. The next award goes to second place in the upper track, and that is Food Beats. I'm going to post that whole rap on YouTube. Share it out with all my friends. Yeah. Jeffrey, if you want to make your way up here to give the global innovation.
Hey everyone, so I'm Jeffrey. I'm from our cyber office here, Center for International Business Education and Research. I'll be brief in that we manage a federal grant from the U.S. Department of Education focused on internationalization and export growth. And so any one of you who submitted to the competition, even those of you who aren't finalists, you're always welcome to come to our office if you want to run some ideas by us as far as taking your idea global. We work directly with companies through Temple Small Business Development Center and others out in the community to help them export their product all over the world or service. So we're happy to help you in any way. You can find us up on the 7th floor of Alter Hall. So we developed the Global Innovation Prize in this competition, and the award goes to the submission that most clearly and thoughtfully answered the written part of the question, combined with the presentation today. And so congratulations to Prenewal.
Congratulations. The next award goes to first place in our undergraduate track, and that is Isolated Medical. Our global innovation, our people's choice, and the second place in undergraduate and upper track are all $500 prizes, and first place in upper and undergraduate are $1,000 prizes, and our grand prize is $1,500. The first place in the upper track goes to Assessum, and that's June. And I forgot to warn Emily to pull her up on screen, so June, give us just a minute.
Thank you.
Hi, June. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There was a ton of votes for the crowd favorite, but there was one very clear leader, and that was Mermaid. Hey, Sophia, if you want to head back up there. Yep, yeah, because you also just won the grand prize, too. So. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Grab some food on the way out. And again, if you just have, suitable points. Very sorry. Thank you, students, for reminding me. Again, finalists, presenters, and judges, if you just have 2 minutes to take a couple quick photos.
And I'd like to thank again the judges, Howard, Brandon, Michael, and Rick. Thank you.
And I'll just say thank you to Emily Hart, Ellie Keaton, Olivia Wise, Janier, who I think is still here, Maya McCowan, Karan Yerneni, Kathy Wong, Isis Kirkland, and all of our student workers here at the IEI for an awesome event tonight.
And Lindsay Clark, who ran the whole operation.